Hey guys, Jess here. Welcome to the Cleanup Classroom. We are in Unit 1, Module 2, and we are asking ourselves this question. We're evaluating ourselves. How did this happen? How did my craft room get to the place it's in? So we're digging deep, we're evaluating ourselves, we're preparing for reorganization or organization of your crafty space. But in order to do that, we need to do some self-reflection, self-evaluation to kind of figure out how we tick, how we work, how we function. It's really, really critical and very important to have successful organization in the future. So this is Unit 1, Module 2. If this is the first video you're seeing, I recommend you going to Unit 1, Module 1, which is what kind of crafter am I, and starting there. This really is a process, and I encourage you to start with the very beginning and evaluate yourself before moving on to the future units and modules. So if you haven't done that already, I encourage you to press pause here and go over to Module 1, Unit 1. What kind of crafter am I? Really, really critical and important step there. But if you've already done that, congratulations, you've filled out your questions and you're ready to move forward. And so this one is Module 2, and it's basically, how did this happen? How did my craft room get to this state of disorganization? I want you to look around your space and ask yourself that very question. How did it get here, right? What behaviors did you do to get here? And I'm talking about the piles, the crammed drawers, the stacks on the floor, the misplaced items, right? Those are all behaviors and habits that we're going to need to work on in order to have successful organization in the future. And so a lot of those habits derive from what kind of organizational style you have. So we're going to go through those different styles, and I want you to really take a look at what might fit you best. Now, there's not a one-size-fits-all to organization, but there are kind of four main categories or types of organization styles that I'm going to cover. And some of you might be all one, some of you might be all another, some of you might be a mixture of both, and that's okay. I think understanding what your style is, what you like, how you work, again, is going to set you up for success in the future when you get your space all organized. So we are going to first talk about a micro organizer versus a macro organizer. So if you've never heard of these terms before, I'm going to explain them. A micro organizer is a very detailed organizer. They think in small, very detailed steps. They have categories within categories. They have boxes within boxes. They're very meticulous. Some people might call them type A, but they're very granular and micro thinkers, hence micro organizers. And then you go to the opposite end of the spectrum, and there's a macro organizer. Macro organizers are big picture thinkers. They are big categories, big boxes of things. They are content with like items all being together without having to be micro sorted in whatever space they're in. So for example, you have a box of colored pencils. I'm going to use that. A micro organizer would have them all separated out in rainbow order, probably, and then a macro organizer would have the same drawer, but all the colored pencils would be just in that drawer, all mixed together. For them, that works. It's all like items together, and so you have macro versus micro. So hopefully that makes sense. So think about, how do you organize, or how do you envision organizing? What is appealing to you, and what can you maintain? Because that is key as well. Can you maintain a micro-organization system where everything is categorized so specifically? Or are you more of a macro organizer where like items are together and they don't have to be finely organized or micro-organized? So really that's important to know. And there's no right or wrong. What we're trying to figure out is what work best for you and what are you going to be able to maintain. That is key here. Okay, so we have micro and then we have macro. The second part of the 4 organizational styles is, are you a visual organizer or are you a hidden organizer? And what I mean by those two is, visual is you like to see everything, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So it's really important to you to be able to see all your items, your products, so you know it there and you will use it. And so if something is hidden or stored in a bin, box, or drawer, you're less likely to remember it's there, or you need some sort of reminder to know it's there. Whereas if it was out in the open, neatly on a shelf or in an open cube, you can actually see it. You're most likely to use it and you prefer it that way. Pegboards are a really great visual organizer system because everything is out in visual and you can see it. So that is a visual organizer. And then you have the other side of it, which is a hidden organizer. And a hidden organizer is just that. They like drawers, they like boxes, they like labels, they like everything tucked away and all the surfaces to be clean, nothing out. And they're okay with looking for things. They prefer it that way. So they like everything kind of neat, clean lines, clean surfaces. And a label maker is definitely their friend. So you have visual and hidden. So then what you need to do is obviously figure out which one is you. Again, you can be a mixture of both too, depending on the product and your style. There's not a one-size-fit-all, again, I want to make that clear. So then you got to look at, okay, are you a micro visual organizer? So you like categories, very meticulous organization, but you like it to be out in the open? Or are you a micro hidden? You like all of your product categorized, but within boxes, bins, and drawers, all tucked away, neat and tidy, clean surfaces. Or hop on over to the other side, macro. Are you a macro visual, where you like big categories out in the open, neatly placed, but you can see everything and it doesn't have to be too specific or too, the categories are pretty broad. Or are you a macro hidden, excuse me, macro hidden organizer, where big categories in drawers, boxes, or bins, they're labeled, but when you open it up, kind of like the color pencil situation, it's just everything all in one drawer and not subdivided. So you need to figure out your organization style and what you can maintain. Now, you may desire one way or another, and maybe you're going to go into this reorganization of your craft room and through a trial and error method, right? Like you look at your current room and it's kind of like a macro visual situation. You're like, man, I would really like to be a micro visual organizer, right? Give it a whirl. But you know what? If you can't maintain it, you'll realize that and go back to the drawing board. That's okay too. You have to go with what you feel like you can maintain, because if you try a system that isn't going to work for you, realistically, you're not going to be able to maintain it long term, right? And the whole purpose of this is to give you a crafty space, not for you to spend your entire time in your craft room organizing your product. So be honest with yourself and realize, what kind of organizer you are, and looking at your current state of your craft room will really help you answer some of those questions. Or you could go beyond your craft room. Look at your house. How do you organize your house? Do you have everything out, or is everything tucked away in boxes? Are they in categories, or very detailed subdivided categories, or are they just big generalized macro categories? So you can learn a lot about yourself if you just stop and kind of pay attention to how you work and how you organize things. So this is the second. Sorry, I'm shaking the desk. I'm very excited about this topic, if you can't tell. So this is Unit 1, Module 2, which is figuring out how this happened and what kind of organizer you are. So just to recap, you've evaluated your crafting style and you have answers there, and now you've evaluated your organizing style. So we're making progress. So next unit is Unit 2, and we're going to be evaluating your space. So I will see you in the next Clean Up Classroom video. Happy organizing, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!